Today, let's take a look at my newly organized bookshelves. Welcome to this house of books. My name is Ashley, and yeah, I have reorganized all of my books. It was a definite task. It was a lot more than I thought it would be, but it was also long overdue. So if you've seen any of my previous organization videos, or even the video that I did at the very end of the year holding up all of my unread TBR books, and I'll link those all down below. So I have this bookcase here, and then a TV stand and a bookcase on the other side that looks just like this one. And then I have a hutch in our kitchen that had a lot of books as well, mostly like book of the month, classics, Agatha Christie, things like that. Oh, nonfiction. And then I had a book cart that had a lot of books that I wanted to read, seasonal TBRs, books that I want to read for different book clubs, those kinds of books. What really made me kind of need to change some organizational things is that I need my hutch. I'm going to have to use it for actual kitchen storage, which means those books needed to go somewhere. So what did that mean? We have a really small house. It works. We just make it fit for what we need. But there's times where we definitely have to figure out some organization kind of things. You'll see I got a new bookcase, and it's where my book cart used to be, so kind of on the other side of this camera. And that has made it so much better. But in doing that, I really needed to go through. And so I pulled all the books off of my bookshelves and made them into piles and have fully organized everything. I basically have fantasy and sci-fi and anything remotely near those genres, and then anything else. I have then also organized by covers. So I have hardcovers, smaller hardcovers, this tall paperback that Orbit tends to do, all right there. Shorter softcover books. And so that is what I have done with all of my books. But I thought I would take you into a really detailed tour. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee and let's kind of get into this. All right, so here we are in front of that same bookcase. Now, this used to hold all historical fiction, anything not fantasy kind of books. And then my fantasy was starting to come over to this side. I have made it all fantasy, sci-fi, anything of that genre. All right, so on this top shelf, I have softcover books that are all fantasy and part of a series. This stack over here are a series that I have finished. And then just about all of these are series that I have not gotten to yet. So they're ready for me whenever I am ready to start reading them. On the next shelf here, I have continued those same kinds of books. I think the only ones that I'm really caught up with are the Twilight Falls books. But other than that, they are all ready. Of course, I have my Sarah J. Maas. I have not started Crescent City yet. We'll see. I have not heard fabulous things about that series. And then continuing over. And then here is that shelf of the taller softcover books. Orbit likes to do these taller books, which I don't mind, but they all fit wonderfully onto this shelf. This shelf here, we are getting into hardcover books, but they are the shorter ones, which a lot of YA books tend to be this shorter hardcover book. I have all of these, some favorites. I have a whole stack of TJ Klune and Becky Chambers. I love a lot of these books on the shelf, and I need to still get to quite a few of them. And then on the very bottom are my regular sized hardcover books. Most of these are a series. I think really kind of the only one is Shark Heart is not part of a series, but I think it fit, so I put it there. You can also see I have started to mix in my book of the month reads. So I have separated out the ones that I have not read, and you'll see those later. But the Book of the Month books that I have read and want to keep, I have started kind of putting them in with the rest of my books. Kind of works out well. Then here is my other bookshelf, which used to be only fantasy and sci-fi, and you can see it is not that now. On the top again, I started with softcover books and just kind of tried to organize them by size. These are my books that are not fantasy or sci-fi, and so you'll see they also continue onto my next shelf. I do here have more of those like hardcover books that are shorter, and so they just kind of worked out great right there. And then I put my Frederick Bachman books on top. Love Frederick Bachman and his writing, so nice little showcase there. And then the next shelf, we are back into fantasy and sci-fi, except for some of the Book of the Month books over there. But these are books that are not in a series, so I have definitely, separated them out from the other bookshelf that has them in a series. So I have all of those. And then, yes, a lot of Book of the Month. And then like Kristen Hanna, things like that. Things that I definitely want to keep. And I really like it over here. All right. And then we are really into my hardcover books that are not fantasy. They are just kind of more general fiction. So I really like how this is. I do have a little space here, but if I like the third book in that series, it will probably go there. And then my very last shelf, more just fictional books. And then a little bit of fantasy hardcover books over here because they just didn't fit on the other side. All right. And then here is that new bookcase. So this is just a Billy bookcase and like the shorter height, and it fit perfectly. Like we can still open the door and access everything that we need. It is crammed full of books. So on the top, I have my book journal, bookmarks, and then my Agatha Christie, I love these editions of classics. And then I have this S book by J.J. Abrams, which I want to read at some point. I think it looks really cool. It's kind of like a book within a book. Just didn't fit anywhere nicely, so it's over here. So on the top shelf are books that I will be reading this year. So from The Martian over are my self-destruct books that I still have. And then from Summer's End over are books that I have ideas for, or they're part of book clubs, anything like that. And so here they are. Some of them also continue on to the next shelf. I think The Wedding People and Killers of a Certain Age. And so whenever I make more room on the top shelf here, they'll go up there. And then I have my unread Book of the Month. So this is why I am trying to use the buzzword prompts with my Book of the Month books, because I have a lot of unread ones. And then on the very bottom over here, I have some Christmas books. And then I also put the Pumpkin Spice Cafe ones on top. They're not great, but I do have the Christmas Tree Farm. And so I want to read that this Christmas and then decide if I'm going to keep all of them or not. And then I go over into some classics and my nonfiction. There's not a lot, but it works. So this is my new shelf, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. So that's it, just a quick short tour of my bookshelves and how I've reorganized them. I am really loving this organization so far. There's been a couple times already though that I'm like, wait, I have that book, where is it? But I do think overall it's so much better. I have so many fantasy books that being able to showcase them better, I love it. And then be able to fill in with other books that I still love. I will definitely be here in front of this bookcase more. And also I think the lighting is just a little bit better. So I will be back with more videos soon. I'm still trying to come up with a reading vlog for this month. We'll see. It might just be, again, kind of like me picking up some books and reading and seeing how much I can read in a certain amount of time. I don't know. We'll see. We're finishing some series, catching up on some series. Maybe I'll do that. As always, if you like this or anything else that I post here on this channel, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I will be back for more soon.